Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Aaron Blade, and I'm the editor, creator, and producer of what you're watching right now, Blade Talk. If you are new here, welcome, and you find this presentation helpful, informative, do me a huge favor, hit that like button, do me an even greater favor, and subscribe to my channel. I always appreciate all the support that I am given. So, y'all know what time it is. It's time for you to ask me 5 questions, and I answer to the best of my ability. So, without further ado, hit that intro, and let's begin. All right, so here we go. 5 questions. First question. Hey Blade, I have a Catholic friend who's trying to convert me and debate me. How do I respond to the debate? What's something I can say to stop this Catholic friend in his tracks? So, personally, I would just say read the Torah, right? Or better yet, give him the crash course of the Torah, show him the presentations that I just did, right? Because there's 613 laws that we have, right? And not one tell us to believe in Jesus. Not one. But if you're just looking to stump a Christian, always start by asking 3 questions. Okay? No Christian can honestly answer these 3 questions. Okay? And the first question is ask your Catholic friend, what is the role of the Mashiach? What is the job description of the Messiah? Right? I mean, every Christian just wants to paint Jesus and deem him as the Messiah without actually reading what the Messiah is supposed to do. So if you ask a Christian, what's the Messiah supposed to do? What is his role on this earth, right? They will paint a picture that essentially looks like Jesus, right? He's supposed to die for the sins of the world. He's supposed to perform miracles and all of this other stuff. And that's a dead giveaway that they never read the Tanakh. They've never read their Old Testament, right? Because if you look at the job description of what the Mashiach is supposed to do, he's supposed to rebuild the third temple, gather all the Jews, all the lost tribes, right? Usher in world peace. There'll be a universal knowledge of God. There will no longer be atheists. I won't have a position on this platform anymore. All the rabbis will be unemployed. Everyone will know God. And so it's clear that you look outside your window or you watch the news, clearly we don't have peace. All the Jews aren't in Israel. The third temple is not, you can physically see these things, right? And so what a Christian has to respond back with is, well, he'll do it when he comes back, right? This is when your Catholic friend will probably say, well, he'll fulfill all of the rest of the prophecies when he comes back, right? Now, at that moment, you explain to your Catholic friend that, okay, 2 things with that. 1, you literally just admitted that he's not the Messiah because he did not fulfill all of the prophecies, right? So you're admitting to me that he didn't do it the first time. Second is that explanation can be used with anyone. Pick any Jew and deem them the Messiah, and they don't have to do anything in this life. They just wait until they come back, right? So I'm the Messiah. I deem myself the Messiah. And I'll fix the temple, gather all the Jews back to Israel. I'll do it on my second go round when I come back, right? And truthfully, Jesus came, he died, and then according to the New Testament, he resurrected after 3 days. And so he still didn't do it. He ascended into heaven. And so now we're going on our third try. How many cracks do you get at being the Mashiach? Is this some kind of installment plan that we didn't know about? How many cracks do you get at the job? Right? My second question is, again, there's 613 laws. You point out one that tells Jews to believe in the Mashiach when he comes. It's not going to be an issue of belief. Would anybody say that, I personally believe that Vladimir Putin is the president of Russia? No. It's a fact. Everybody knows it, right? So it's not going to be a thing of belief. Everyone will know. Okay? So my second question is simply, there's 613 laws. You point out the one that tells me to believe in his son when he comes, believe in a Messiah when he comes, etc., etc. Good luck with that. My third and final question that Christians can't answer, it deals with, even if you want to say that Jesus will fulfill everything when he comes back, right? Even if you want to take that route, there's still an issue. And that issue is the issue of Jesus' genealogy, right? So if you look at the book of Matthew and you look at the book of Luke, their genealogies of Jesus contradict each other. Now we know, based on our scriptures, the Jewish text, that the Mashiach has to come from the seed of Jesse, through King David, through King Solomon. And both those genealogies are disqualifying. One of the genealogies go through the wrong son, right? The prophet Nathan, King David's son, that wasn't essentially a king. And then the other goes and puts King Jeconiah in his genealogy. And if you read the book of Jeremiah, King Jeconiah was cursed. None of his offspring can sit on the throne of David. So both genealogies essentially disqualify Jesus. Right? What's more is Christians tell me that he didn't really have a genealogy. He had no earthly father. God is his father. Right? But unless you're willing to say that God is from the tribe of Judah and a descendant of King David, sorry, God doesn't work either. That line of reasoning does not work. Okay? So those are 3 questions you can ask your Catholic friend that he won't have an answer to. Many Christians like to spin and bend around the fact that, well, if you have the Holy Spirit and you pray and all of this stuff, it still wouldn't make sense. We know what the Mashiach is supposed to do. We know where the Mashiach is supposed to come from the line of King David through King Solomon. So Jesus didn't come from that line, right? So the two contradict each other. If you deem Jesus a king, like most do, he's the king of the Jews, right? Then you're basically saying that he's from the line of from the tribe of Judah, right? Because only from the tribe of Judah can someone sit on the throne. But then you're saying that Jesus is the great sacrifice, right? Well, only priests can make sacrifices. Kings can't make sacrifice, so you have to be from the tribe of Levi. The big issue with Jesus is biologically, you can only have one dad. And that father is either from one of the 12, they have to be from one of the 12 tribes. No one man can be a member of two tribes. You can't have two fathers. And genealogy is always traced through the father. So, just based on Jesus' genealogy, he doesn't qualify. The whole idea of the sacrifice and whatnot, first of all, human sacrifices are an abomination. But nevertheless, you have to be from the priestly family. You have to be from the tribe of Levi. Well, if you're from the tribe of Levi, then you can't be a king because that person has to be from the tribe of Judah. So, which one is it? You let your friend decide. Next question. Hi Blade, I love your videos. I would love to know your thoughts on the efforts being done to trace the living ancestors of the 12 tribes. Do you think there is too much lost to history to consider this project viable? Do you think finding living ancestors help give validation to the Torah? Thank you for helping to give a light to Judaism. It is always refreshing to learn from you. So I heard about the effort that they're trying to find the lost tribes. Honestly, I think that it's a lost cause. I think that the 10 lost tribes are going to remain lost until the prophet Elijah comes. And I've always been against ushering in this messianic era before the world is ready for it. Right, there are some efforts being done to try to rebuild or start building the third and final temple. Efforts being done to find the lost tribes, etc. These are all things that the Mashiach is going to do. Right? And I personally believe that Elijah is going to be the one that precedes the Mashiach that's going to, identify who the Mashiach is, but also bring all the Jews together. Right? And in doing so, finding the lost tribes. I think that is what Elijah is going to do. All right. So again, I'm against, ushering in an era forcefully before the world is ready for it. Right? As far as it giving validation to the Torah, no. I personally, when I am arguing for the Torah or making the case for the Torah, I try to stay away from supernatural claims. I try to stay away from, if the archaeological evidence and do you see this, that, and the third. I try to stay away from things like that. What I do to encourage people to follow the Torah is I basically say that it works. It works. You can build a society off of it. And I haven't seen another way to actually have a meaningful, respectful society outside of the Torah. I mean, you have the Torah saying, telling us how to deal with our fellow man, right? How to deal with, business practices and whatnot, So, again, if they find the archaeological evidence and whatnot, that's all great. However, I don't depend on that to validate the Torah. What I'm depending on with the Torah is simply it works. It works. Okay? So, hope that answers the question. Next question. I just found your channel today, and I watched the video that Rabbi Ruven did. I'm 68. I converted to conservative in 1987. I was already married to a Jewish girl 5 years before that. We were married by a rabbi, but not at a temple. We are still married today. I wanted my family to all be the same once kids were born, so I converted. They were bar and bat mitzvah we used to keep the house kosher. I don't know what happened. Things happen. Life changes. Kids get bigger, go to college. I changed. I don't know what happened when I started going to a reformed temple for a while, then stopped. Recently, after seeing a lot of friends and family pass, I've been questioning things like, will I go to hell? Will God judge me? Etc. I started looking for answers on YouTube, and I came across that video where Rabbi Ruven said I was 0% Jewish. I gotta tell you that really has bothered me. I emailed him about it. He replied and said he was sorry, but I'm not where I thought I was in life. That I'm not where I thought I was in life. There's still time to do something about it. My wife was raised conservative. Her parents divorced, so the kids bounced between reform and conservative with their parents. She won't even acknowledge him or anything he says. She wants nothing to do with Orthodox. Actually, that lifestyle wouldn't work for us. I don't have anything against them. I'm really hurt by his video. I have convinced my wife that we need to have some spirituality in our lives again. She says, why do you want to go to a conservative shul? You don't know Hebrew and I won't get anything out of it. I kind of agree. All the times I went, I never really understood what was being said. So maybe reform is a good fit, but they're all very liberal and I'm not. I was wondering if you could give me any advice on the best way to go about this. All right, so I did a presentation on Rabbi Ruven's video, and he basically takes the stance that I disagree with, and that is he's one of those strict Orthodox rabbis that believe that only Orthodox is the way, and Reform conversions aren't valid, and conservative conversions aren't valid, and things like that. Right? He believes that Orthodox is the one true way and the most authentic way to convert to Judaism. And I've listened to some of the things he stated. Again, I disagree with him on a multitude of things. He stated that, a woman can't exercise or run out in public, right? Or jog out in public because they're violating modesty and whatnot. When it comes to rabbis like that, my advice is to understand that halakha, Jewish law, is on your side. Okay? As long as you went and you converted through, which if you did a conservative conversion, then that's on a halakhic basis. Right? There is no universal conversion into Judaism. Right? So my advice is, if Orthodox isn't the lifestyle that you want to adhere to, or your wife wants to adhere to, or you don't agree with its principles, certain things about it, join the club, right? I am the same way. I left Orthodoxy and switched into the conservative movement. Right? It doesn't make me any less Jewish for doing so. And personally, I look at it like this. Okay? I've stated this before. I think that Orthodox rabbis like Rabbi Ruven, who I respect, but I absolutely disagree with him on these issues. I think that they have to do things like that because their numbers are going down. Right? I think that it's a sales pitch. You're not really Jewish until you join us. So it kind of gets people into this mindset of feeling insecure about their conversion and whatnot, and it fools them into thinking that well, if I have an Orthodox conversion, then everyone will accept it, and that's not true. You can have an Orthodox conversion, and the person in the next city over may not accept it. And then you go to Israel, and the rabbinute may not accept it. There is no such thing as a universal conversion into Judaism, right? I mean, you could go to Israel, convert the rabbinute and whatnot, and there'll still be some in Judaism that says you can't convert. You got to be born into this. You got to have Jewish blood. My advice is to do what works best for you. If I were in your shoes, here's the thing. It all depends on where your values and your philosophy align. If it aligns with the Reform movement, then go towards the Reform movement. The conservative movement, and you're mentioning that there's a lot of Hebrew in the conservative shuls. That is true, but it's all repetitive. And you should sit down with the rabbi and have them, explain what's being said and whatnot. I'm sure they would love to explain it to you. Or learn Hebrew. It's not a hard language to learn. It really isn't. Right? So I would get with the rabbi of the conservative shul, if that's where you're leaning, and get them to schedule an appointment with them and have that one-on-one time to learn a few things, the prayers, that it's all repetitive. It's all repetitive. And once you get that down and once you understand that, no matter where you go, right, whether Reform or, another conservative shul, Orthodox, we all basically are praying the same thing. There may be some melodies here and there that you have to catch on to, but all of the prayers are basically identical. Right. The only exception would be, of course, when I was Orthodox, a lot of them leave out the matriarchs of Judaism. As far as Sarah and Leah and Rachel, they leave them out. Rivka, they're strong in being a male, putting more emphasis on the male patriarchy, but other than that, it's the exact, same prayers. Some it's just the tune, the melodies that change. But I would definitely get with your rabbi and, have him explain to you what's being said. And there's usually, in the Siddur, there's the transliteration. So if you don't understand, what people are saying, there's usually an English portion that, follow along in English. I always tell people, personally, it's great if you want to take that extra step forward, learn Hebrew, learn the prayers in Hebrew, things like that, right? However, if you don't have the time or whatever the case may be, say it in English. I promise you, God understands English. Promise you. Or whatever your native tongue is. Promise you, God understands it. All right? Hope that answers the question. Next question. Hi, Blade. I've been watching your videos for several months now, and learning from you is a great pleasure. Keep up the great work and keep being yourself. Gotta be myself. Everybody else is taken. Now, my question. I have started the process of pursuing a conservative conversion, and as I've gotten closer to the congregation and engaging in more serious learning, I find myself having doubts. Would you have any advice for someone who wants to convert but is dealing with impostor syndrome or just feeling unsure? How can I find confidence in living a newly Jewish life? All right. So my advice would be to understand that this decision is yours and yours alone. Okay? Nobody is pressuring you to make this decision. And you can be a righteous non-Jew. If you just want to attend the services and not convert, that's fine too. So There is no time limit on this. When you feel ready, then go through with the conversion. And understand that there is no pressure. As far as having doubts and whatnot, I frame it like this, okay? Flip the question around. Because to be Jewish is to have a close relationship with God. That's the whole point of being Jewish. To delight in that special relationship that you have with God by following His laws, His commandments. So ask it another way. Why are you having doubts about having that relationship with God? Because He definitely wants one with you. So my thing is to take your time, right? Get with other potential converts, maybe talk to your Rebbe about the doubts that you have. Identify what those doubts are. What is holding you back, right? From getting a closer relationship with God. And as I stated, you don't have to be Jewish, okay? You can be a righteous non-Jew. Nobody is pressuring you, no matter how slow you want to take it. Maybe you want to explore other religions. Maybe you want to learn Hebrew first so you know, again, what we're saying in shul. Right? Take your time. All right? Understand that there is no pressure. Okay? So hope that answers the question. You want to find confidence in living a Jewish life. It's all based on community. Get around other Jews. Okay? So what Rabbi Hillel said in the Mishnah, right? We are supposed to surround ourselves with our Jewish community. And in doing so, we uplift each other because you're around other people that are going in the same direction you are. And maybe they have the same doubts. Or maybe they had doubts and they can teach you, what helped them along the way. Surround yourself with the Jewish community. Immerse yourself in it, and there you'll find the confidence. In addition, remember that you're trying to gain this close connection with God. Remember that. Keep your eye on the prize. Remember that you are doing this to have a close relationship with God. All right? Hope that answers the question. All right, next question. Hey Blade, love your channel. I'm a new subscriber. I am 16 years old, and I was wondering what advice you would give to someone like me that is afraid of rejection. Like, I'm scared of trying because I'm afraid of being rejected or failing. All right, so thank you for your question. I'll tell you the same thing that I told my airmen when I became a senior NCO. I'll give you 3 tips on how to conquer your fear of rejection, okay? The first is you are not your first impression. Right? When I would, mentor senior airmen to make staff sergeant or become an NCO, they take the exam and whatnot, understand that you are not your first impression, okay? If you think I got rejected, it makes you feel like you're not good enough, right? That is what you're afraid of. You're afraid of not being good enough. But if you replace that thought with that conversation didn't go well, then ultimately, you change your mindset into it, okay? Understand that no one can reject you, okay? No one can ultimately reject you. Why? Because nobody really knows you. They can't look into your soul or anything. So no one can essentially reject you. They can only reject how you present yourself. Okay? How you present yourself is a skill that you can essentially improve. Okay, that's the first tip. Second tip is knowing that rejection is inevitable. Okay, shame is optional. Rejection is inevitable. Shame is optional. Everyone gets rejected. Everyone gets rejected. The most successful people in the world has failed and been rejected more than anyone else. Okay? So anytime you get rejected, remind yourself that someone you admire essentially has been rejected many times at one point. Okay? So it is inevitable. It's how you, again, it's how you look at that rejection. Don't ever think that, again, you aren't good enough. Okay? It's going to happen. Everybody, from the highs to the low, we're all going to get rejected. Okay? My third tip is recognizing that life is a numbers game. Okay? The big thing is you try and you fail and you try and you fail, and that if you follow that formula and you just repeat it, I tried, I failed, I'm going to try again, I'm going to fail, I'm going to try again, I'm going to fail. That is the formula that is guaranteed for you to be successful. Right? So most people fear rejection and failure because they believe the reward that they will get by doing something won't outweigh the pain that will come if they fail. Okay? One way to overcome this idea is to increase the cost of not trying. One way that I encouraged airmen to do this was to go to someone that you trust. Okay? Someone that you trust, a best friend, or a family member, what have you. And give them $20. Okay? And tell them the only way you get that $20 back is if you do the thing that scares you. All right? Eventually, you'll start to try it just to get your money back. Right? So do the thing that scares you. That's how you grow. It sounds crazy, but it's exposure therapy. Okay? Do what scares you over and over and over until it essentially doesn't faze you anymore. Right? I went to high school with a guy about your age, and he came up with this idea. It was around time for prom, right? And didn't have a girlfriend, so what he decided to do was ask out every girl in our vicinity, right, in our school. And he ended up getting rejected after rejection after rejection. I think he asked maybe 28 girls until the 29th said, yes, I'll go with you to prom. Understand that life is a numbers game. You get told no, no, no. All you're looking for is that one person to say yes. And once you understand that that's what you're fighting for, it's a numbers game. Everybody is playing the numbers game. The most successful people, when actors and actresses, they audition for roles, they get let down or rejected so many times that they only need that one person to say, yes, you got the role, you got the part. And then that's when the money comes. You just have to increase the cost of not trying. So if $20 isn't anything to you, then give them $50. Give them $100 and say, if I don't do the thing that scares me, then you hold on to that money. And I only get it back if I put myself out there. Understand that success is an uncomfortable procedure. You got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's where you find success. Okay? My thing is when I watch people Even as I look at other YouTubers and whatnot, I'm not impressed by the individuals that have millions of subscribers. I'm impressed by the ones that have 5,000, 50,000, 100,000. Right? My uh, Jewish mommy life. Marion is awesome. House of Lave is awesome. Those are the ones that inspire me. Because for me, it is more inspiring to see people jump in and trying to do something than someone who is excellent at it or someone who has perfected it. What inspires me more are the people that jump in and say, I'm going to do the best that I can. And they're trying and they're grinding and they're hustling. That's what I love. Right? You're pushing for more and more views, and there's challenging you to push out more content, and and all of that. And that's what I want to provide on this channel. That's why I started this channel, right? And the thing is it wasn't the YouTubers that had millions of subscribers that influenced me. It was the ones that had a couple thousand, but they were grinding. I love that. So I wanted to come on here and see if I can become the largest Black conservative Jew on this platform. And with your help, I'm constantly growing. And I love the grind. I love the way that it challenges me. Because the people who have millions of subscribers and whatnot, a lot of them, they let it go to their head and they're not even down to earth anymore. They get so many comments, so many emails that they can't even respond and take the time to acknowledge their subscribers like I'm doing here. And some of them go overboard with, the animations and whatnot. These bleeps and bloops, and then some of them sell out to ad corporations and whatnot, and all of this, and there's no knock on them. I'm not trying to, hate on them at all, but it's this where it all begins when I have a direct line of communication with my subscribers, that I can actually take time to email some of you back or take time to answer questions like this. I never want to lose that. And I don't need all the fancy, some, hey, if you, do your thumbnail or this or that, or add in a this or, a bleep or a bloop or a wacky sound effect to make it like, no, I want my presentation to stand on its own. You know exactly what you're getting. Most people, when they subscribe to a YouTube channel, they love the person, how they view things as far as the content that they push out. They're not falling in love with that person, themselves. They're falling in love with what they're talking about. They need advice, and it's that algorithm, right? And as long as you stay in that niche, I can come on here and talk about, the Cat Williams interview. I could talk about, things that are trending to try to boost my subscribers. But one thing that I love to do is stay consistent. I'm on this platform. I have a job to do, and that is to teach Torah. That is to try to exchange in dialogue. Right? So, because what I found is most people condemn the Torah, Christians, Muslim, they condemn it before they actually even read it. Going back up to the first question that I have about, what can I say to stump my Catholic friend? Tell them to read the Torah. All Christians, the law is obsolete. Jesus is the end of the law. Have you read the law? So are you telling me that honoring your mother and your father is no longer? That stealing is bad? Being honest in business transactions That's no longer, we don't have to listen to that anymore because Jesus died and essentially ended the law. Or you have Muslims that claim that the Torah has been corrupted, the law has been corrupted. There is only one God. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. There's only one God that's been corrupted. Don't murder. That's been corrupted. Have you read what you're trying to condemn first? Have you even read it? Or are you just following other people that haven't read it themselves, that are just trying to create a narrative? Think for yourself. That is what I encourage on this platform. Think for yourself. Think. It ain't illegal yet, but they're working on it. So, I know I went off on a tangent, but I know that is what you all are here for anyway. That being said, thank you all so much for, asking me questions. I apologize if I didn't get to all of them. I'm going to try to email some back after Shabbat and just maybe personally email some answers. There was one good one on the differences between, Orthodox and Chabad, which I want to get to. I may make a presentation on that, on the whole Hasidic movement of Judaism. But thank you all so much for supporting me. Thank you all so much for engaging in conversations, asking me questions, the feedback that I've gotten, all of it. Thank you all so much. All right, we're almost at 1,000 subscribers, and for me, that means the world to me. So please like, share my content. It means the world. So again, that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in to Blade Talk. Be good to yourselves, be good to others, and until the next episode, y'all take care.